Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Crown by Kenzie. Of course, you know who I am. It's Mackenzie. But welcome guys. So before we go any further, make sure you all like, subscribe, comment, and hit that notification bell so that way you'll know when either I go live or I post another video. All right. So, in case you guys do not know, but I'm sure you'll find out if you're in these YouTube streets, Jennifer Williams, baby. Jennifer Williams and her fiance, Kristen Gold, they did a tell all interview with Carlos King. Now, I'll link that video down in the description just in case you have not seen it and you want to watch the full interview because this episode we're not going to get into it. But let's say Carlos did a fabulous job. Um, but I'm going to give my opinion. So let's just hold off on that. However, they did an interview. Now, if you all are not familiar with Jennifer Williams, she's from Basketball Wives. She has a history of dating guys that are scammers. One guy, most recent, she did a documentary on VH1 about it, and he stole her Range Rover, pretty much. This guy that she met in Atlanta, I guess he was a stock queen, obviously. Oh, wait a minute. Allegedly. Let's make sure to put this here to cover ourselves. All right. So he stole her Range Rover, just disappeared with the Range Rover. Range Rover. I'm sorry, I don't even know if she ever got it back. I don't think she did. Anywho, she did a documentary about it. You guys got to go back and catch up on that. I don't have time to go through it all. I wish I could, but maybe another day and another time. All right, her fiance, her new fiance, and again, she's a cast member on Basketball Wives. She's been there since inception. So she's a staple in the show. Her new fiance, Christian Gold, has a shady past that is now catching up with him. Now, y'all know sometimes when you got a shady past, when you get on reality TV, it comes out, baby. And the people, it hits you. The people out there, they're scamming. They trying to find anything. They scanning through all kind of documents, trying to find anything they can on you. But I'll tell y'all how I feel about that part when it comes to Jennifer Williams later on in the commentary, okay? So they did an interview, a sit down, tell all interview with Carlos King, Reality with the King podcast. Make sure you guys go ahead and subscribe to Carlos King channel. Shout out to Carlos. Anyhow, all the pleasantries aside, I know y'all want to know because y'all know just like I am. Otherwise, why would you be here? Y'all nosy. So they started from the beginning, how they met, all exchanged all the pleasantries, all the niceties. Oh, so sweet how we met. But let's get down to the dirt, okay? And again, I like Jennifer Williams, okay? This is not a personal attack on her. I like her. I love her bouginess. I loved it since the beginning. She's like, and Carlos King describes it, she's like a black Barbie doll. But y'all do know how they portrayed Barbie. Not much there. I'm just saying. So again, this is not a personal attack, but we gotta call it like we see it over here, okay? So again, they started off all the pleasantries, the niceties, whatever. It was all good. How they met, so on and so forth. So they get down. Carlos asks Kristen about his past. And of course, he want to discuss everything that we're all discussing out here in these YouTube streets. So let's get into it. Christian states at the age of 18, 19 years old, he had a fashion degree from SCAD. That's a college in Atlanta. I think it's the Fashion Design Institute, Savannah, something like that. But it's in Atlanta where he allegedly grew up. Immediately after SCAD, he said that he was launched into corporate America where he was making 130 to 140K a year. Now, I don't know what kind of degree he had from SCAD that catapulted him into making 130 to $140,000 a year at 18, 19 years old. More power to them. It does not sound realistic, but am I saying that it could not happen? No, I'm not. So let's move on. So this is what everybody's talking about. Allegedly, he had an incident with an ex-girlfriend that landed him 10 years in prison. Prison, y'all. Landed him 10 years in prison for DV. Now, because we're on YouTube, there's certain things that we can and we cannot say. And I think that's one of the things that we cannot say. Y'all, I'm trying to get to monetization status, okay? So I can't say certain things. So we're going to say DV. Y'all know what that means in a relationship. And if you don't, look it up. All right. All right. So everybody's been talking about that. So here it goes. We're going to break it down. I'm going to try my best to break it down step by step and give you my commentary on what I feel about it. Again, not a personal attack, but we call it like we see it. All right, 20 years old. His issue with him and his ex-girlfriend, they were living together in Brookhaven, Atlanta. Brookhaven is a very, very nice area if you're not familiar with Atlanta. Very, very nice area. But him and his girlfriend, they were living together and they were getting ready to transition from one apartment to another. Pretty much because he was making so much money, he had a little arrogance. You know, I'm making the money. He said in this interview, he stated he helped her to find a job, so on and so forth. But he's saying that because of his arrogance, that's what led to the events that we're about to discuss. Okay. Now, keep in mind, I don't know if y'all ever dealt with somebody that's arrogant and they're at a certain financial status and you're not there. They tend to puff out their chest a little bit more and feel like they have more of a control when you're not at the same financial status as they are. So by the time this is all over, you guys will understand where I'm going with that, okay? So he's 19. Him and his girlfriend living together. They're getting ready to transition from one place to another. He calls her up on the phone. Hey, when you get home, we need to discuss the bills going forward, discuss, how our financial moves going forward when we move to this new place that's about to be renovated. So girlfriend comes home. Now he said he went and bought some alcohol, wine, so he says, at 19. I ain't saying it, but I'm just saying the people in the streets are going to eventually say, see, that's where your criminal past started at, right there. 19, buying alcohol at a young age, illegal. But it is what it is. Some of y'all don't did that. I didn't. Okay. I was a good child. I don't know about y'all. I was a good child. I didn't start drinking and I didn't start purchasing or consuming alcohol until the age of 21. I don't know about y'all heathens, but that was not me. Anywho, so they start talking about finances, and now it gets to a heated argument. He says that he's been drinking, she's been drinking. Now they get into a heated argument. What they argued about, he didn't specifically say, but he now says that he understands why she blew up. Okay, so during the argument, according to him, and again, all of this is alleged. I'm just going by what I heard, and I'm summarizing in my own words. Okay. He says that the argument turned left, and they got into a heated argument, start going back and forth. Da, 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 da. The neighbors heard. I guess the neighbors got worried. They called the police. But according to him, he kept telling her that he'll leave. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go. However, she kept saying, no, I'll go. I'll go. So he says, according to Christian, he took the keys away from her and told her because she had been drinking so much, his tolerance was a little bit better than hers. So because she had been drinking so much, he was not going to allow her to go anywhere. So he went blocking the front door to the back door, the front door to the back door, trying to block her from leaving while having the keys. So according to him, he says that he left Y'all pay attention now. This was shit gets, excuse me, it gets a little sticky here. He said that he left and did not return until that the next morning. He called his cousin up on the phone, told his cousin, come pick me up. This has the potential to go left. Before anything goes left, I just want to go ahead and leave, according to him. So the neighbors got word. The neighbors called the cops. I guess the cops arrived while he was gone. I don't know. But according to him, Christian Gold, he called the next morning on his way home, and the girlfriend did not answer the phone. She was MIA, y'all. Where's she at? He called her mom. Her mother tells him, I guess, that she's in the hospital. She jumped out of a Garden Terrace apartment, breaking her ankle and maybe some other bones. I can't remember, but I know it was her ankle. Now, stay there. Let me go back a little bit to describe the scene a little bit. The Garden Terrace apartment, he said, was on the third floor. But if you're familiar with Atlanta and certain other places with apartment complexes, they have garages that you can rent out. So their garden level terrace was above, garden level terrace apartment, I'm sorry, was above the garages. So technically, it made it seem like it was the fourth floor that she jumped out of. Okay? He's trying to call you back. She jumped out of the fourth floor. So let's go back. This girl jumped out of, and y'all hear me again. This girl jumped out of an apartment on the fourth floor. And he was gone. But prior to, according to him, he would not let her out of the apartment because she had been drinking and he didn't want her to drive. Now, I don't know about y'all, and I hope I expressed that correctly and described the scene correctly to you guys and accurately so that you guys can understand where I'm about to come from. But at the end of the day, why would you jump out of a third floor, fourth floor apartment if you could have just walked out the front door? If he had left, then she could have just walked out. Why did she jump out? Is that weird to y'all? And now I know that people do a lot of crazy things when they loose off the juice. I get it. But something says to me, why would she jump out of a window, a patio door, whatever she jumped out of? Why would you jump out, risking your life, risking breaking your bones, in which she did, if he was gone? Okay, y'all with me now? Stay with me here. All right, so he gets back to the apartment. The mom says, hey, meet me here. He calls her mom. They had a close bond. According to him, the mom meets him there. And if you pay attention, he said, I went in and got her things, packed her a bag when he found out she was in the hospital. And he said that the mom did not question anything. The mom did not question him about what happened to my daughter, so on and so forth. Then he retracted that, took it back and said, well, wait a minute. Before I went into the apartment, there was a warrant on the door. There was a warrant on the door, as well as the notification, a letter or something that said he needed to come to the front office. So he stated he went to the front office. He had to sign something, show picture ID, to give him a key to be able to get back into the apartment. Now, wait a minute. Again, I'm not saying that these things cannot happen, but that sounds hella strange to me. Unfortunately, I've lived, honey. I've seen a lot of things. I've seen some domestic DV situations in apartments, and they didn't put a warrant on your door, especially if the person was not there. They didn't put a warrant on the door. Or at 7 o'clock in the morning, because that's what time he said it was, 7 o'clock in the morning, would your landlord or after hours, let me correct that. He did say something about after hours. Would after hours come in, lock your door, so you change the locks on your door so you could not get in there and require you to have to come to the front office. Now, stranger things have happened. I'm not saying it could not happen or it cannot happen, but that's strange. That's strange as hell. Very strange. Especially if you were the one making 130K to 140K, I would have to assume that apartment was in your name. So why would they change the locks and not contact you first? Okay, moving on. So he went and got the key. He then packed her bag, sent her on her mother on her way with the bag, so on and so forth. All right. He says when he's getting ready to leave the complex, as soon as he hit the gate, boom, the man jump out. They jump out. He said it's like the SWAT team. The SWAT team or anything close to it. Something about that don't seem right. Again, I've been around some situations and I've heard of some situations, but the SWAT team or the equivalent of a SWAT team was waiting for you at the gate and they all arrested you. Yeah, something don't sound right about that, okay? But I'm not judging, but I am. So when they jump out, they arrest him. He goes to jail for 20 hours. He makes bonds out. He as time goes on, he gets back with the girl. And let me point something out. He started to harp on the fact about being a black man, and police brutality, so on and so forth. So now what we ain't gonna do, because there were many lives lost due to police brutality and the injustice of black people. But for this situation, what we're not going to do is try to blame everything on police brutality. Even though I'm not saying that it was not happening then, but what we're not going to do is try to blame everything on that, okay? But it seems like that's where the goal was. It seemed like somebody had some media training and they were kind of pandering to the African American community because we're the ones that's judging this situation. But it was like he's pandering to the community to say that it was some kind of police brutality or it was something because he was black. And that ain't it, brother. That ain't it. All right. So the eviction was filed from the old police department. I mean, from the old apartment complex. Once he got out, he had to move out, find another place, so on and so forth. They eventually got back together, got back into communication. He allowed her to somewhat move in because she moved her bags in, and then they got on good terms. It was a year. First of all, she filed charges. No, let's back this up. He said that the state picked up the charges. When she went to court, because he said this all happened like a year and a half afterwards, after the situation where he finally had to face the music. But anywho, when he went to court, she did not say, according to him, that he hit her. She didn't say that. He said that She told the judge in the court to take it easy on him. My problem with that statement is this. Pay attention. Now, I know in the state of Georgia, and this is where it all took place, I know in the state of Georgia that sometimes a person in a DV situation, they tend to say, y'all know how it goes. They tend to say, oh, it was just a misunderstanding. Once it's all said and done, it was a misunderstanding. Nothing happened, blah, 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 blah. And sometimes the state will choose to pick up the charges. A lot of times they don't. They tend to drop them. Okay? Follow along here. They tend to drop those charges. They tend to kick it out, let it go. Because they feel like, I think, in my opinion, we're going to watch and see if it's going to happen again. Because I'm sure they're used to these kind of situations, DV situations. These couples get into it, they argue, they're going to be right back together. Most of the time, they try not to take it there. But I'm just assuming because of her situation, because she jumped out of the window or from the third, fourth floor, maybe that's why they took it seriously, okay? I don't know. But she said, when asked, what did she recommend? When the judge asked her what kind of time do you recommend, she said, take it easy on him. Here's where the problem comes in at. If she said that he did not hit her, he in fact did not do anything to her, why would she just say take it easy on him instead of saying he deserves no time? He didn't do anything. He deserves no time. Why would you say that? I know I would, especially if we were just laid up together and everything was all good. Why would you say take it easy on him? That don't sound right. That does not sound right. He goes on to say even the prosecutor said take it easy on him. The prosecutor, take it easy on them because they're young, they just kids, they going through things, kids go through things. Why would they do that? That does not make sense to me. When I was hearing that, y'all, I'm like, wait a minute. This does not make sense. So again, he says the state picked up the charges. It was a year and a half after the incident before he heard anything. He communicated with her up until one day of court. Now, y'all know I said that he said they moved in together somewhat because he allowed her to pack a bag, bring it over. And y'all know how it goes. You bring one outfit, you bring two, then your toothbrush there, and next thing you know, you loofah there, and you live there. They were in good communication up until one day before court. That was it. He stated, the judge stated, they wanted to make an example out of him and give him, we're going to make an example out of you and give you 10 years, but you're only going to serve 7. Okay? When Carlos asked him, have you been in communication with her? He said no. He had not heard from her anymore, the victim. He had not heard from her anymore since that day before court. Don't that sound strange to y'all? But it also sounds even more strange is because couples get into situations, they get into spats. And again, like I said, I'm not taking the fact that the state could pick up the charges. That anything is possible, guys. Anything is possible. I'm not saying that, but I'm just calling it how I see it. They went to the extreme of giving you 10 years to serve 7 for an incident that never occurred, according to him. See, what I think is, one, this kind of situation has happened before. This ain't the first time. Now, whether or not anyone was charged or taken off to jail, that's beyond me. But to me, and I have not seen any court documents, but to me, it sounds like this situation has occurred many a time. For the neighbors to call the police, in my opinion, Because we all don't been in relationships and lived in apartments and we don't argue to the top of our lungs, but our neighbors ain't never called the police on me or us. Let me not even say me. Don't y'all go thinking I'm anything besides angelic. Because I'm a sweetheart. Okay. Okay. So, anywho, have your neighbors ever called the police on you because of an argument with your spouse after one time living in an apartment? That don't sound right. It sounds like some other issues was going down and things may have taken a turn for the worse, and that's why the neighbors called the police. Let's just call a spade a spade. I'm going to call it how I see it. And then for you to get 10 years on top of that, well, no, let's back up. The neighbors called the police because of a simple argument that escalated and got heated between a couple in their own apartment one time. And then this girl jumps out of a window or a balcony door or whatever from the fourth floor, breaking her bones. When you were gone and you were nobody holding her back from getting out of that apartment and walking out the front door safely. She jumps out. That's suspicious. 3, she says, take it easy on him. Instead of saying, he didn't do anything to me, give him no time. She says, take it easy on him. 4, the judge gives you 10 years, 10, count them out, 10 years to serve 7 in prison for something that did not happen, a simple argument. So I know y'all wondering what were the charges. Well, according to him, he said the charges were for pretty much holding her against her will, kidnapping, so to speak. He held her against her will. Now, in case you guys do not know, you very well can receive a charge. You can receive a charge for holding someone against their will. So just going forward, if you get into an argument with somebody, don't try to block them from the door. You can be charged for that because the person should be able to leave any place on their own free will. So don't ever try to block nobody in because if they get nasty and call the police on you, it's a wrap. That's a charge. Okay? It is a charge. So if that was the charge and the situation was explained, according to him, that I wouldn't let her drive because she was under the influence and I just took her keys, but then I left the house. So she had all free will to leave. Why were you charged and given 10 years with 7 years to serve and the rest on probation? And what brought us to this point, what brought people to the point to start investigating him is because the restitution. Why are you on the hook for restitution if you did nothing but block her in the door? And she knew, and she said that you never put a hand on her. Anything ever happened. Why do you have a DV charge? I think it's on his record, but I have to make sure. But allegedly, why is there DV or kidnapping if nothing happened? Y'all see what I'm throwing out there? Y'all catching it? I'm sure you are. So why would any of those chain? Why would that chain of events happen that way? I can't get past 10 years. Come on now. Something else happened. Something else happened that we're not being told. And by all means, he does not owe us any explanation. Only person he owes it to is Jennifer. So he goes to prison. The indictment says kidnapping. He goes to prison. He changes his life. He's been reading. He's been, doing him, reading the Bible, whatever. So you know how it goes in prison. He said the people in prison call him blessed. Why they call you blessed, Christian Gold? In prison. No, I ain't saying that, but the kids out there in the streets say you look a little sus anyway. But I ain't saying that. That man, straight for all I don't know what y'all talking about. Don't come over here bringing that mess to me. Don't come bringing that mess to me. I ain't say that. Y'all people out there in the streets, y'all be saying anything allegedly. Y'all be saying anything. But he said they call him blessed in prison. Anyhow, he served 3.5 years jail time, got out, served 3.5 years on probation or parole, I'm sorry. Then the remainder of the 10 years on probation, in which he's currently still on. All right, according to him, he had bad representation. He had an attorney that he paid $20,000 for. So now here go where we start blaming the attorney. He paid the attorney $20,000. The attorney the day before court said, "Hey," sent him a text and said, "Hey, we cannot represent you anymore." Usually, when attorneys do that, they feel like they cannot beat the case. They cannot beat it. But according to him, he got his money back through the bar association, so that's neither here nor there. I don't know. But I'm just telling you what it seemed like when he first said it. An attorney usually will not take on your case. Either A, if you're being a difficult client, and he did say he was arrogant and nobody could tell him anything, so maybe that's what the problem was. They couldn't tell him anything. Okay? Maybe they couldn't tell him anything. Who? So maybe that could be why they dropped him. But usually attorneys drop you for specific reasons. Anywho, he said the day of, he came to court. The judge told him, "Hey, this is a severe case, so you might want to have representation." He had to get a court-appointed attorney. He states the court-appointed attorney did everything for him. This guy even abstained from sex from his wife because he didn't want anything to distract him from the case. Said the attorney, the public defender started crying and everything. Like he was just so dedicated. Oh God. Oh, now he's still speaking good of the ex and this and that and the other. But to me, in my personal opinion, y'all don't have to agree by all means. This y'all opinion, but this is mine. And y'all came here for it. So listen up, kids. I think media training, he was speaking all these good things of the ex and did not say anything about her derogatory. And he kept it very careful. He tried it very carefully on what he said about her. Because y'all know why sometimes people do that? They do that because they know if they say something wrong about this person in any kind of negative light, this person gonna shoot back at you. And now they doing an interview somewhere and telling their side of the story. So you know, if I don't want you to talk bad about me, I'm gonna talk real nice about you. And I'm gonna say, yeah, I understand now why this happened because I was arrogant, I did this, that, and the other. But it's you talking all good is still not explaining why you got 10 years. Okay. So he got out, never spoke to the girl again, and he says due to a no contact order. If you did nothing, why is there a no contact order in place? This does not make any sense. I'm just saying, y'all, if you did nothing wrong, why would there be a no contact order? I've seen people that have done worse multiple times. And they had to damn near go to the courts and beg them to get some kind of order to not be contacted or some kind of restraining order at the least. So why was there a no contact order if y'all were in good communication the day before the trial? She was basically living with you and so on and so forth. Something for me tells me you were trying to woo her back in, probably with some money, woo her back in, keep her quiet to make her go to the court and speak highly of you. And if she did say take it easy on him, the courts was just not buying it because they've seen these situations before. We all have. We all have seen it. So where the no contact order comes into play here, okay? Now, here goes G. She felt so much sympathy for him, and I get it. That's her man. You got to back your man up. I get it. I feel so much sympathy for him. We live in a Republican state, Georgia, that is. Republican does a lot of shady ish, and I'm not here to debate politics and go on down that rabbit hole. But what I am going to say, Georgia is a Republican state. You're right. But the situation that I've seen, that Republican state, I wish they would have kicked in on those situations and did the Republican thing and handled the certain situations I know in the past, but they didn't. So we ain't gonna blame it on it being a Republican state. We all know what kind of climate we're living in, so we ain't even gonna go there. Okay, we're not going there. I can't go there legally. I cannot get into those politics, so we're gonna leave that right there. Okay. Jen then states she does not like the narrative being put out about him, and she thinks it's weird, like people all in her damn business, and this and that and the other, and so on and so forth. You put yourself in the public eye. You put yourself up for scrutiny. You put your relationship out there. And if y'all refer back to my other video where I talked about basketball, why Jennifer has the reputation of, and I gotta call it like I see it, money leads me. If you say you got the money, baby, I'm on it because I'm that type of person. That's what the streets say about Jennifer. And if you watch her, you might get that feeling too. Again, I like her. So y'all ain't about to put that in my head. I ain't say that. The street said that. But the streets say money motivates her. You tell her you got a few bucks in the bank, she's on it. To keep up with the lifestyle. In the rented fashions that the people say. But I ain't say that. I love her fashions. Even if they are rented. Show me where I can rent some too. Okay. So she said that it's weird and she don't know why people all in her damn business. She thinks it's so weird, blah, 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 blah. And Carlos did interrupt her and let her know. And she said, oh, and she said, Scammy is the farthest thing from him. He's not that type of person. Mm-mm. Wait a minute now. Hold on. Okay. People, what I want you guys to understand, we all want to get into a relationship and see people for who they are, see the best of them because we got with them. But if you've been through one, you don't been through two situations in your life, and yeah, Miss Jennifer has. He took a whole Range Rover from you. The other guy that you was with, in case y'all don't know, a little bad history, she was with Tim Norman, Sweetie Pie's son, you know, the one with the hips. And y'all know he in the prison right now for setting his nephew up to be, you know, taken out of here, in which he was. And y'all know he's sitting behind the prison doors now. And y'all remember on Basketball Wives, he was allegedly stalking her. Y'all remember that? I think 2-3 seasons ago. Remember she was walking her dog and she said Tim was around the corner? This before he went to prison for having his nephew knocked off. So with that being said, Jen, and y'all remember her ex-husband, Eric Williams, former basketball player, you know, with the knot, that tossed the drink in her face on TV. Black Barbie doll. Let's go back to that. Barbies are beautiful. They're beautiful to look at. But the reputation of a Barbie doll, they're not that bright. They're very superficial. And that's what Jennifer comes off as. Very superficial. Gotta call it how I see it. So for you to make a statement that he's not a scammer and speak with so much conviction as if you know him forever, you don't know that, mama. So be careful. Because again, we all want to say we know a person and we know what they will or will not do, but we don't. We do not know. And I'm sure you said this about the others. Because I'm sure they had a reputation too. They didn't just start acting crazy or doing strange ish with you, especially not the scammer dude, because there was some women on the documentary that say he did it to them. So my mama has always raised me, look deep before diving in, Jennifer. Look deep before diving in. I know my husband. Like, listen, I know him. I know him. I know him. I know him. You can't nobody tell me nothing about him except for his mama and his sister and his brothers. And I'm gonna believe every word they say because they know him. But I think I know him well enough too, but never to the extent that they know him. So people don't ever get that twisted. Ever. I love him. I trust him with everything in me. Don't ever think you know a person better than they family do. You might know the now them, but you don't know them like their family do. You don't know them like their exes do too. For some people, there's a such thing called math. They put them on before they get with you. And as time goes on, and the commitment gets more serious, signing on the dotted line, getting your money behind them, then they tend to show those true colors. I ain't saying he will or he is, but I'm just saying. Okay. So Carlos points out to her that the people love you. You have loyal fans. They look out for you because of the things you went through in the past. You're the black Barbie doll. I always think of Jen as the black Paris Hilton for some reason. She really is. She's like the black Paris Hilton. And Paris Hilton, people took her for, little, not that smart, but very business savvy, which Jen seems to be for herself. I ain't going to take that from her. She seems very business savvy. But the black Barbie doll, she said that she prayed for discernment. We not gonna take that from her. And y'all, what I want to say, people can change. We not gonna we not gonna take that. We're not gonna take that from him. People can change, and he may not be that person. I'm just speaking on what he said about the situation then. People do have the capacity to change. Just because who you were yesterday, does not mean that you're going to be that person today. So by no means am I saying that Christian Gold is this type of person. I'm just giving you feedback on what I saw and what was expressed during that interview. And again, if you guys want to see the complete interview, which I think was fabulous, go and check it out. Reality with the King, Carlos King, his podcast, his YouTube page. Go ahead and check it out. So they tend to wrap up the interview with all the pleasantries and Carlos saying how he was this nice guy and this and the other. And if you guys do not know, Christian also does trading within the stock market, something with trading. Now, the people out there in the street, say he's scamming. That's the biggest issue around this, too. He's a scammer. Now, Jennifer, going back to not knowing somebody, and I'm not saying this him, but I got to keep it real, y'all. The game of scamming changes every day with every situation. Your age been put on Front Street. So ain't nothing in this world say he couldn't have seen your documentary or went back and read up on you and saw your situation because you're in the public eye and decide I'm gonna do a little bit better. Now she talked about how he gave this all these watches, this Richard Mille watch and this Audemars Piguet, all that kind of stuff. He gave her, which I think she has on the Audemars then in the interview. He gave you all of this and the other. He does not ask you for money, this and the other, and that's all well and fine. But sometimes people that are trying to scam you, child, they'll be nice to you and they'll give you what you need because they know that you're that type of person. A scammer is smart. Don't ever fall victim to a scammer because a scammer is smart. They know what they're doing. So they know they can get you by giving you all these nice things in the beginning. Oh, they're gonna give you everything you want. Because they're looking for a return on that. So keep that in mind. I ain't saying that's what you're doing, but I'm just saying we keeping it real over here. She says what he does in trading, it's a foreign language to her. Well, girl, you better make it your second language outside of English. Because you need to know what your man do. Everybody need to know what their man do for a living. You need to be able to go to an office. I think Mama Joy said it best when it came to Phaedra and Apollo. It's something wrong when you can't call a man in his office and you don't know what he do for a living. It's something wrong with that. You need to know. I need to know where every piece of money coming in this household coming from. Because if we're married, I'd be damned if you better get me caught up into something. I need to know where it's coming from. But I don't have no problems to worry about. My boo's a hard worker. He go to work. You can barely even pull him away from his job. That's just how serious it is. When he off, he's still working. Anywho, pretty much again, this interview wraps up. They exchange pleasantries and niceties, and everything is all good and smiles. It was very, very good. Now, overall, Christian, sometimes in life, and I understand you want to plead your side of the case out. I understand this. And maybe one day he might watch this, or Jennifer might watch this. Sometimes because people accuse you of something does not always mean you need to respond. Sometimes it's just better to say nothing at all. Okay? Because sometimes when we speak, whether it's the truth or a lie, sometimes we're so caught up in the moment and we don't realize what we're saying. We say things that dig us further and further into a hole. So sometimes it's just better, and this goes for everybody else listening. Sometimes it's just best to not even entertain it. Let people think what they're gonna think, because whether you speak out about this interview didn't do nothing. Trust me, it didn't do anything. People still gonna think what they want to think about you. It's not gonna change their mind. Because once John Q. Public has in their brain of who you are, they're gonna always keep it there. So you know what? Let them think what they want to think. Your past is your past. While it was entertaining, thank you. But your past is just that, your past. You don't have to explain that to nobody. You should have just been quiet. Let the people talk. Because to me, this interview did nothing but, and I watched some of the comments. I've been trying lately not to watch comments about things that I'm going to do commentary on, because sometimes I can be like a sponge and I can soak these things up, and I don't want them to have the effect, even though I'm going to say what I want to say and think what I want to think. I'll read it after. I don't want those comments being put into my mind. So that's why I didn't really even read into too much of it. But I saw enough of the comments, and the people ain't trying to hear it, child. They are not trying to hear it. So again, while it was very entertaining, shout out to Carlos King. If he ever see this one day, you just should not have done it. You should have just been quiet and left speculation to be speculation. People gonna think what they want to think. Anyway, y'all, that's all I have. I've enjoyed. I want to bring you guys a little something that's been on my mind all day long. So I had to get it to you guys. I hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so that way you know when I go live again, and you'll be first to know. And again, y'all, we're gonna come up with the time. We're gonna get a time together, so on and so forth. So y'all don't worry. And I might just be random. Who knows? I'm a random person sometimes. So that's the importance of hitting that notification bell. Okay. Now let me go ahead and make my stuffed salmon and homemade mashed potato situation. Stuffed salmon. I did say salmon. I hope I ain't. Anywho, bye y'all. Take care. See y'all next time.